Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the press. We understand our existing protocols. We invite you now to join us by giving us your undivided attention as we call this press conference to order. We want to say thank you also to the management of the Ministry of Information for continuously addressing some of the needs that we have here in the conference room. The additional interventions have been made, which is good for the physical outlook of the place, because this is where the government of Liberia speaks from. So we will not stop at anything to keep improving this environment, and I show some of you who are assigned here. We do appreciate the ambience that we now enjoy in the historic Charles Gbeyon conference room here at the Ministry of Information. Today is the 8th day of January 2025. We are here, the second edition of the press conference in the year 2026, this year 2025. So it's good to be here, and we have one of the entities of the government of Liberia that has done so remarkably well. When the government was inaugurated on January 22nd, 2024, the National Transit Authority was one of those entities that was not different from the website. Everything there was room, and the people who the president assigned there had the challenge of proving themselves worthy of the president's confidence. And today, we need not hear from the Ministry of Information about some of the remarkable things that are happening at the National Transit Authority. They did not send us the end of the year report, so we invited them to come to the microphone. Because in our mind, the minister indicated to me, he said, Samuel, the NTA was one of the entities, they don't so well, why not call it them? So I called MD4 to pick up the phone and he said, I'll be there on Thursday. So he's here today. So we're happy to have you, Mr. Managing Director. He's here with his deputy, a very eloquent and passionate young man, Mr. Noah Galgate. We'd like to welcome all of you who have come here from the NTA. We also have in the house distinguished deputy ministers, directors from the Ministry of Information. And we are here together, happily executing the tasks of the Ministry of Information. So today, press conference, Mr. Pia has designated me to speak, but before I speak to you on the issue that we have to address, we want to say something very important. So I will now seize the moment to invite our distinguished minister to the microphone. We'll make those remarks, and then I will come to speak before we invite the Managing Director of the National Transit Authority. Thank you. Mr. Minister.
All right, good afternoon. It's good to be back. Like the Deputy Minister said, he is the principal speaker from the ministry today, but I just wanted to clear 3 things quick. One, I know you must have heard on the radio or read in the newspaper about the situation in Sino involving the armed forces of Liberia. Yes, there was a minor misunderstanding. For your information, the AFL has been deployed at the Sapo National Park for some time because you are aware that that park was occupied by illegal occupants. The government has been working to clear the park, and the park is clear. And since then, the AFL has been posted. But it had a situation that led to altercation between them and young people. But it started initially with the coming out of the traditional level, and it was requested that members of the armed forces move indoor, and that, in a way, compromises security. So in the middle of the misunderstanding, the briefing is that some people attempted using stones, and as a way of deterrence, one or two shots were fired in the air for deterrence. But good enough, the elders intervened, the matter is resolved, and the members of the army and the people in the area are once more living in harmony. Good enough, the shots fired were fired in the air. No one was wounded, nothing happened. And importantly, they are together in mutual harmony. So I just thought to clear that officially from the government standpoint. The second thing I want to talk about is the fact that no country is an island. Nations that carry themselves in ways that put them in one small corner all by themselves face multiple challenges. One of the things we've been able to do successfully since the Black administration is we've improved and harnessed our relationship internationally. We, among few countries, enjoy a very good relationship with the United States of America. We've got a very good relationship with Europe, with Asia, with our friends on the African continent. And they're demonstrating time in, time out what it means to have a good relationship. You are aware that we're on the voyage of knowing what will be given to Liberia as a result of our Combat 2 achievement. We know what the United Nations system will be investing in here in the next 4 years through the framework, country framework that we develop along with it. We see what different countries in Europe are doing here. And we see what our friends from Asia, particularly the Chinese, are doing. It was good to know that they have started to act in a way that will enhance the capacity of the Liberia National Police. So you're already aware that they gave them some 90 brand new motorbike. They gave them uniforms, 1,500 pieces, both the shirts and trousers each. They got leather shoes, up to 1,000 of them. They got hats, 1,005, boots, 500. One t-shirt for them, 1,500. Raincoats, 1,500. Like I said, motorcycles, 90. The DMR hand shield digital radio, 1,100 pieces. And handheld dual mode radio, 55 pieces. These supplies, logistical supplies, will enhance police operation, which is so much needed with all that is happening around us. To have our police well prepared, equipped, is a good thing. So we just let to know publicly that all of our friends, our traditional allies, the Americans, our friends in Europe, our friends on the African continent, everyone coming to the aid of our country because they realize they have a government that is doing what governments should do. If you don't do what government is supposed to do, who will not be happy to work a lot of you? 6 years ago, we should have had a new broadcast complex at LBS. We should have had a reference laboratory at the 14 Military Hospital. We should have had an overpass bridge. All of those things collapsed because of bad international relations. We restore them. When you move, you see yourself the overpass bridge project is on. We've reached the point of dedicating the new broadcast complex at LBS, the finalizing the reference laboratory that will be dedicated soon shortly. So as the government, we salute our international friends and friendly nations that are coming to our aid, and we appreciate the relationship and partnership that we have with them. And the final thing I want to say before I see, as part of the performance management contract system, government institutions are required to develop their strategic plan for 5 years. It's a major milestone for the PNCL process. Many institutions have done so. The Ministry of Information has also done theirs. And the process required that when you develop the strategic plan, and after it's been validated, it should be launched. So I just wanted to use this press conference as a medium through which we declare that the strategic plan of the Ministry of Information that ranges from 2025 to 2030 is just launched after it's been finalized. This plan, as you can see it, so this is our strategic plan. Of course, on Wikipedia, we didn't need anything called strategic plan. We didn't need anything called communication strategy. The strategy is also being finalized and will also be launched here alongside the strategic plan, which will direct the things we have to do here for the next 4 years. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. We also want to thank the various departments of the ministry for working closely with the head of administration for the conclusion of the strategic plan which was just launched by the minister. So let me just continue from where Mr. Pierre stopped. We observed over the last couple of weeks influx of Liberians from the diaspora. The airport was flooded with Liberians. That is because the government and the president himself attach a lot of importance to the role that Liberians in the diaspora can play in the power march of our dear country. So after the period of festivity, the President, His Excellency Joseph Mwaka, will on tomorrow host a farewell program marking the close of the 2025-2026 annual diaspora return. The annual diaspora return is a national initiative that welcomes Liberians in the diaspora, African Americans, and friends of Liberia for the season of cultural change, dialogue, and engagement. So the program will be hosted tomorrow, the 9th of February, at about 3 p.m. on the grounds of the Executive Mansion. The event, which is being held in the auspices of the Office of the President, through the Office of the Diaspora Affairs, in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The occasion is expected to bring together returning diasporans, senior government officials,
development partners, traditional leaders, private sector actors, and members of the diplomatic community. Highlight of the program will include special remark for senior government officials, reflection on the achievement and impact of the diaspora annual return, and recognition of diaspora contribution to national development. The farewell program symbolizes not merely a departure, but a renewed call for sustained engagement, collaboration, and partnership beyond festive season. So we continue to run you through some major accomplishments of entities of the government. We have Enfield and the health triple here. So in 2025, the National Public Health Institute of Liberia made significant progress in strengthening national public health systems, disease surveillance, laboratory capacity, workforce development, and emergency preparedness. Working closely with the Ministry of Health and international partners, the Institute enhanced Liberia's ability to detect, respond to, and manage public health threats while supporting national and global health security goals. During the reporting period, Enfield detected 278 public health events of national and global concern and effectively responded to multiple outbreaks, including mpox, Lassa fever, and measles across all 15 counties of Liberia. mpox response efforts resulted in a high recovery rate of approximately 94%, with active cases reduced to 81 across 14 counties. Timelines minimizing socio-economic disruption. Operational outreach on the 717 framework shows strong performance in event detection, reporting, and early response. Public health workforce capacity was strengthened through the field epidemiology training program, which trained 27 frontline health workers in disease surveillance and outbreak investigation, emergency preparedness, improved with 16 functional emergency operational centers nationwide, and supported by upgraded equipment provided by Africa CDC. Laboratory system was significantly enhanced through the decentralization of mpox testing to regional laboratories and the establishment of in-country genomic sequencing for mpox and Lassa fever. Biosafety and biosecurity measures were strengthened through nationwide certification for biosafety cabinets and specialized training for laboratory staff. And we also advanced research and knowledge sharing by hosting the fourth Enfield also advanced research and knowledge sharing by hosting the fourth MFA Dentist National Scientific Conference and conducting operational research to inform policy and surveillance improvements. Health promotion and race communication efforts supported community engagement during disease outbreak. Institutionally, Enfield implemented governance reforms, including biometric attendance system, revised strategic planning aligned to the ARD, and strengthening performance monitoring. Recognition by Africa CDC as the Center for Excellence underscores Enfield leadership role on the continent. Overall, Enfield marked a year of growth. Overall, 2025 marked a year of growth and innovation for Enfield, reinforcing Liberia's capacity to respond effectively to public health threats and laying a strong foundation for continued progress in 2026. the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission. Major achievement recorded between January and November 2025. Between January and November 2025, the Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, LRRC, made notable progress in strengthening governance frameworks, expanding integration and humanitarian support, and improving institutional capacity in line with its mandates on the 1993 Liberia Refugee Act and International Refugee Conventions. Key achievements include the development and publication of Service Delivery Charter, issuance and validation of Executive Order Number 144, and the establishment of critical internal control instruments such as adult, human resource, financial, and operational policy. Reintegration efforts supported vulnerable refugees and flood victims through livelihood assistance, small business grants, and educational support across multiple counties, with continued issuance of civil documentation in collaboration with relevant government agencies. Institutional capacity was enhanced through the deployment of financial and management consulting, international training opportunities, and professional development programs for staff. Despite these gains, the Commission faced challenges related to inadequate budgetary and limited logistics. In continuation of MPOS Phase 2, vaccination campaign, the Ministry of Health team in Moscow County has intensified vaccination activities in communities across Moscow. The campaign covers 8 hotspot counties across Liberia: Nima, Ibom, Grand Kitman, Grand Coup, Grand Jida, Moscow, Grand Basso, and Lopa counties. Frontline health workers, high rates in children from 2 above are encouraged to take advantage of this life-saving initiative to get vaccinated. Ministry of Health, Dr. Luis Nkoto, the unannounced visit to the Banabay Health Center, where she encouraged staff and thanked healthcare workers for their unwavering commitment. She reaffirmed that 2026 will be a year of health facility visitation, underscoring the Ministry of Health focus on strengthening health services nationwide. So we woke up to the news that some of the critics who are noted for putting a spin on everything to the effect that they are now misinterpreting what the IMF released on Liberia. The same people who forecasted doubt that Liberia will not be reaffirmed for the compact, the doomsday prophets, all of the negative wishes for the country, even though they all come to pass, but never cease to amaze us. So the IMF board concluded the 2025 Article 5 consultation and completed the second review on the extended credit facility arrangement for Liberia. The credit facility provides immediate access to special withdrawal rights, 19.3 million, amounting to about 26.5 million. Growth is expected or projected at 4.6% in 2025 and 5.4% in 2026. Medium-term prospects remain favorable, with GDP growth expected to stabilize at 5.5%, assuming full and timely implementation of the extended credit facility, supported reform programs. preserving fiscal consolidation, enhancing financial stability, and addressing key structural weaknesses, particularly limited competitiveness and widespread corruption remain key challenge. The Executive Board of the International Monetary Fund completed the Article 5 consultation and second review of the 40-month extended credit facility arrangement for Liberia. The board decision allows for an immediate disbursement of special withdrawal right 19.3 million, about 26.5 million, bringing total disbursement on the arrangement to 57.9 million, which is about 79.4 million USD. Liberia extended credit facility arrangement amounts to 155 million. 60% of quota was approved by the IMF Executive Board on September 25, 2024 to support the country's efforts to restore macroeconomic stability, reduce debt vulnerabilities, preserve financial stability, and strengthen governance. The program performance has remained broadly satisfactory. 5 out of 6 performance criteria were met, with one miss. The Executive Board approved a waiver of non-observance of continuous performance criteria on the non-accumulation of new extended arrears based on critical corrective actions taken by Liberia. Following a strong post-pandemic recovery, economic activities moderated somewhat in 2024. Growth is projected to reach 4.6%, was projected to reach 4.6% in 2025 and accelerate to 5.4% in 2026, supported by an expansion of mining activities, particularly gold and iron ore, as well as a recovery of agricultural production. Political stability has provided a supported backdrop for the ambitious new middle-term development strategy, the arrest agenda for inclusive development. I read that again. Political stability has provided a supported backdrop for the ambitious new middle-term development strategy, the arrest agenda for inclusive development. So following the Executive Board discussion, Mr. Bao Lee, IT Chair of the Board and Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, made the following statement. Liberia has made notable progress in implementing sound macroeconomic policy and key structural reform in the first year of the fund-supported programs, that is 2025. Measures to reduce large-scale deficit, mitigate debt vulnerabilities, and strengthen foreign exchange reserves have yielded encouraging results. Swift policy responses to sudden termination of large grant support through rationalizing low priority spending and mobilizing additional domestic revenues have also safeguarded critical social programs previously financed by UC. So what they are saying to us here is that the government of Liberia has instituted sound policy. And as a result of this policy, the board is now saying to us that the country is on the right trajectory. Building on this strong start, more ambitious domestic revenue mobilization will be essential to create fiscal space for priority development spending. A comprehensive reform agenda is planned for the coming year, including the transition from the general sales tax to higher rates, value-added tax, income tax reform, and the rationalization of tax exemption. Continuous spending discipline, together with improvements in the composition of quality of public expenditure, will also be crucial. A central bank of Liberia's effort to address weaknesses in three banks and safeguard the banking sector stability are welcome. Steadfast implementation of a stronger regulatory framework will be key while completing bank restructuring and reducing hard non-performing loans will further strengthen stability and support credit intermediation for private sector-led growth. Recent measures to strengthen the regulatory framework of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission will enhance transparency, including through the publication of public officials' asset declarations. The governance diagnostic study will provide a solid foundation for effective governance reforms across sectors, which will be instrumental in attracting foreign investment and supporting higher, more inclusive growth. The Executive Board assessment. The Executive Board of the IMF agrees with the trusts of the staff appraisal. They recommended Liberia for the efforts to preserve macroeconomic stability and welcome the broadly satisfactory performance on the extended credit facility arrangement for Liberia. Despite improvement in the outlook, rates remain tilted to the downside, including the ongoing decline in extended assistance and global economic uncertainty. Against this backdrop, the Board of Directors emphasized the importance of sustained reform efforts to preserve fiscal discipline, enhance financial stability, strengthen public governance, and support private sector development to raise the living standard of the people and reduce poverty. The Board of Directors commended Liberia for maintaining a prudent fiscal stance, particularly in light of reduced foreign aid. They were encouraged by the forward-looking fiscal strategy aimed at further increasing tax revenue to meet social development needs, rebuilding fiscal space, and mitigating debt vulnerabilities. It's a long report, so we'll publish it on the ministry website after the press conference. I just thought to highlight it. You listen, I read verbatim what they published. So you can now understand why we can't understand why some of our friends will always want to be negative about something that's supposed to be positive for the country. The board is basically commending the government for some of the policy that we put into place in the absence or in the way of external aid reduction. The Minister of Finance said last time that when you say left, people predicted budget shortfall. Today, 2025, and the government is putting budget surplus. The Ministry of Public Works, in collaboration with the Liberia National Police and the Ministry of Transport, has designed new routes to ensure effective traffic control amid the ongoing excavation work for the construction of the east and west overpasses along the southern border. And this comes in the wake of the huge traffic we've been experiencing those moving through Town to Painesville because of the Congo work. So these are the routes that they've announced. All vehicles leaving Central Monrovia to Painesville will be diverted through the Town Road. The road that passes right in front of Calabash. I show most of the gentlemen know Calabash. All vehicles from Painesville going to Central Monrovia will continue along the Tottenham Boulevard, while those going to Old Road will be directed through the Allison Street that passes at the back of the Canada building, where Peace Island 540 intercepts Tottenham Boulevard. Vehicles using the Bishop Michael Parker Francis Road towards Central Monrovia will not be allowed to use the Town Road but will cross at the back of the Ministry of Health to connect Tottenham Boulevard. These measures will be strictly enforced by the Liberia National Police with the goal of avoiding unnecessary traffic congestion, and the Ministry anticipates full cooperation from the public in this regard. Lastly, the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment delivered strong performance in the fiscal year 2025, driving community infrastructure across 15 counties through government-funded programs, Office of the Vice President, and partnership with ECOWAS, ArcelorMittal, project focused on education, road bridges, public buildings, and health, representing over 70% of all interventions. Key executive level achievements: full-time double bus corporate bus line, fully completed and in use, funded by the Office of the President. The Getchu Yancey Public School, Bonin County, major renovation underway on a historic school attended by current President of Excellency Katumo Waka. The goal is to make that school one of the top boarding learning facilities in Bonin. Project funded by the Office of the Vice President through fiscal year 2025 budget. Construction of multiple health facilities. Bole, Van, Sikepa, Butu, Kampe, Tabata Youth Center, Gamte Guest House, and 10 classroom annex at the Nima University. International and corporate partnership project. The ECOWAS cross-border market, water site. Boarding facility completed with water, electricity, sanitation, and voting education. Japan ArcelorMittal supported medical facility, construction of the Skin Park and Buchanan hospitals, each comprising surgery, pediatrics, laboratory walls, laundry, and administrative compartments. District development projects nationwide. Education, district development project channel onshore lawmakers to localize development on the legislative support projects. Top project category: education, road bridges, public buildings. Implementation status: 55 to 60% of all projects are completed. 30 to 35% ongoing. Many schools and public facilities needing additional funding. 10% of all the projects are proposed or pending. On that note, we want to pause and now invite our one and only guest to the microphone, the Managing Director of the National Transit Authority, Mr. Edmond Paul. He will speak. He completed. We'll entertain a couple of questions from our distinguished media friends, and then the three speakers, Ms. Sophia spoke, he will speak. Then we can separately respond to your questions.
Good afternoon, members of the press, our listening audience out there. So we wish you all a happy and prosperous new year as we partner in improving public transportation in Liberia. Well, we just want to highlight a few achievements of the National Transit Authority for the past 1 year. As you may be aware, we were here sometime in at the end of 2024, and we promised some things, some improvements that we anticipated hearing out at the National Transit Authority. Some of those issues were governance issues. In terms of the governance issue, we had to develop a 5-year strategic plan that we guard our activities at the MTA. We completed that. We also, in line with that strategic plan, we developed our human resource manual that was approved by our board of directors, and then prepared handbooks for employees' activities out of that human resource manual. For smooth operations of the National Transit Authority, we developed standard operating procedures for all our operations. They were approved, and we are now using them to guide our activities. When we took over the National Transit Authority, we took an inventory of how we met the institution, and to authenticate what we recorded, we wrote the General Auditing Commission to conduct an entry audit, so that at the end of our tenure, when we are leaving, there will be an independent verifier to state what we actually met there. And we do same every other year as we move into a new year. In continuation of our governance process, we met several audit recommendations that were made by the GSC. We are now implementing 73 different recommendations. We have completed 36 of them. Some of them are ongoing. Some are beyond our control. Some require huge financial spending. But we are working to resolve as many of them as possible to improve our governance process. In terms of employee welfare, when we took over, we met the institution very broke. In fact, in one of our discussions, I said the total amount in dollars and cents that we met at the entity was 113,000 Liberian dollars and 41 US dollars. In fact, the draft copy of the GSC report even put me a little bit wrong, because there were accounts that were open that we did not receive information about, and we got those information as a result of the audit, and almost all the accounts are in negative, which means a liability to the institution. So if I take that into consideration, it means we met the entity deep in negative. However, there were some people that tend to challenge what we said, and I told them I will not ask the bank to publish it directly from the bank, and you will see exactly what we are talking about. So in this 2025, in the 2025 budget, we budgeted health insurance for our employees for the first time after more than 7 years. That insurance has some of the beneficiaries attached to it. We introduced a health occupational health and safety department that was never existing to work along with HR in maintaining the health insurance and handling emergency health issues before employees will be taken to any of those hospitals. In the arrest agenda, sanitation is key, and so we ourselves take sanitation at higher priority. We met the institution with close to 400 employees with 2 guard rooms. So we erected a 6-room bathroom facility. We completed that to improve sanitation on the compound. The powerhouse was fully dilapidated. We started construction of a new powerhouse since we indeed intended to take LEC to our compound. That we have succeeded. 3 weeks ago, we have LEC the compound with our own transformer, and that was the problem. LEC said it could not without the institution purchasing its own transformer. We successfully did that. We got in there. Now the powerhouse is going up, and sooner we will transition from the shackle building to a modern powerhouse. We also rehabilitated a house in Ganta because normally we move our outstation people to Ganta, San Poli. They normally sleep in the Ganta area to move back to Moruga. So we have a guest house that we fully reconditioned for our employees overstay while they are in Ganta. In terms of infrastructure, I said my last time here that we took over the entity with our administrative building. The administrative building was burned down to the ground. And so in 2025, we began the construction of a new administrative building. As we speak, they should be casting the first floor of that building this morning. As per the engineering schedule, that building should be completed by July of this year. To enhance our operations, we are now trying to renovate our terminals. You know, four terminals were constructed in 2014. In fact, the 4th one was not completed up to 2017. 3 of them was fully completed, furnished well in Bangabon County, Bogota and Kima County, and Picano and Plateau County. Unfortunately, those terminals were massively looted in the past 6 years. The Cambos, down to the Cambos were taking tags, were looted from the floor. So we intend to rehabilitate those terminals so that our buses now have area for outstation servicing. We got a parcel of land through the help of the Mayor of Paisley. We are constructing a terminal in Red Line. In the next 3 months, that terminal will be ready, and our passenger traveling outside, especially Banga, Ganta, the southeast, will be able to board the buses from our own terminal in Red Line. Increasing operational efficiency as a result of repairing those buses and the arrival of additional 35 buses. We have increased our routes. We are now running, in addition to the southeast, Zwedru, Harbour by Zwedru. We have the Battersby Estate to Broad Street route resume. So that's the New Georgia to Broad Street route resume. Oro to Broad Street route resume. And then now we are now in Kakata and Havel. We anticipate very shortly we will be opening the Lofa route and Bagon. We also have a route resumed that is from Douala to Redland as a result of the increase in our fleet of buses. We also rehabilitated our fuel tank as part of our maintenance and operational plan. We purchased 35,000 gallons of fuel oil to enable us move our operations smoothly. As you may be aware, that the second highest cost of the National Transport Authority, the first is personnel, the second is fuel, and that's key in our movement. So, as we speak currently, we hired a firm, we are recalibrating our tank to 35,000 gallons, and we are filling that tank in with 35,000 gallons of fuel from 10,000 gallons. To support that, we purchased a brand new dispenser, and that dispenser is now being installed. So our buses move to our fuel station and just take fuel like they were to a private fuel station. As a result of our movement in Maryland, Zwedru to Maryland, we are opening an office in Maryland. And we hired some additional staff. We hired them from Maryland, and they are here now working in Maryland. Our buses live in Maryland, and we run twice a week to and from Maryland. And we're talking about our employees' welfare, where we did not just take into consideration just the health benefits, but remunerations. We look at that in the true sense of harmonization. We did that with our managers when we took over. We have managers, qualified managers, some with master's degree, but at various salaries. Some managers will make 1,500, and you have other managers that will make 500. For us, on our administration, we felt that was unacceptable. And so, in the true sense of harmonizing salary, we brought harmony to that category of employees and adjusted all of the salary. Those that were below 1,000, we moved all of them up to 1,000. We did same with all our assistant managers. We are now working on our supervisors. Our employees down the line, there was $150, $175. We are now migrating all NTA employees. Once you are NTA employees, your minimum salary is now $200. and then we start adjusting as we improve the entity for them. In terms of training, there are regular ongoing training. In fact, I met some of these young guys, young folks, because we meet among them, without any skill. I decided not to hold anybody down as I met them, except when you don't want to work. So we try to build up their skill. 13 of them, we send them to the MVDC, and management for the entire cost of them going to. The only thing they need to do for themselves is to study. As I was leaving the entity this morning, I just signed for them to, they will receive their books, safety books, because the school requires them to work. So we purchase everything, and some of them go to do plumbing, masonry, auto electricity, carpentry. In fact, the building that I'm talking about for the generator room, we hire a consultant to guide the process. They are constructing that generator room. If you go to NTA compound now as we speak, you will meet some of them who are not to school today working. And after their work hours, they go to school and come back to work. So we announced again here in 2024 that we had an intention of procuring 60 pieces of equipment, of vehicles, 35 pieces of 62-seater buses, 20 pieces of 18-seater buses, and 5 cargo trucks. We signed the contract in 2025. The vendor is a Liberian company, ABK Incorporated. This contract was signed between ABK Incorporated and the National Transit Authority, attested to by the Ministry of Justice and Ministry of Finance. It was further enhanced by the involvement of the Debt Management Committee. After the signing of this contract, the vendor was to bring in the vehicles. As we speak, 35 pieces of the vehicles are now in town. The first 35, in fact, they brought 34 individually. Because of space problem, one was left behind, so they brought 34. 2 weeks ago, they just delivered the remaining one, so we have 35 pieces of the 62-seater buses already in town. We got information that very shortly, the 20 pieces will be here. Very shortly, the 20 pieces will be here. We intend to use them on special services because the 20 pieces of 18-seater vehicles are fully air conditioned, so we use them on some special operations. And some of our community routes, we use them on our community routes. The fast trucks will be coming probably at the end of this first quarter. They have not left the factory yet, but we are assured that by the end of the first quarter, the trucks will be arriving. So in our operations, we consider part of our program where we have those that we move in and around Moruga free of charge. That we have been doing. And those people are members of the disabled community. We move members of the disabled community free of charge. we move national security officers in uniform. Security officers in uniform, we move them free of charge, and children under 5 that are guided by their parents on the buses, we move them free of charge. And I just want to use this time to ask the head of our security apparatus, that's the initiative of the National Transit Authority, to appreciate our security in uniform, because their presence along the river ride even help us as we move our people around. We were very specific when we said officer in uniform, except where the conductor and the driver are not satisfied with the uniform that you are in, then they ask you to further show an ID card. But if you are not in uniform, they will not allow you to enter the bus. There are security officers that we don't know. We don't see you wearing jeans and t-shirts and automatically know that you are a security officer. If you are in that category and you couldn't have your ID card, try to convince that conductor or the driver for them to give you a ride. But once you are not in uniform, they are not allowed to give you a ride free of charge. Please, there are a lot of confrontation. We have been receiving reports that there are people who show ID cards and just say they are security, national security officer, and automatically they want to ride us free of charge. So we are asking the leaders of those security apparatus to intervene and then talk to their officers to behave in a proper manner and not to harm our conductors and drivers in line of their legal duties. Very shortly we will be introducing a special fare for students in uniform. Again, we are saying students in uniform. And that is to say from kindergarten to 12th grade. In Liberia, those are the people, those are the students that we expect to be in uniform. If you want to wear, talk about our uniform and go to ministry, you go to work in the Ministry of Justice, and you see you are in uniform, the conductors will know the difference between you working and the student. If they don't pick that up and they put you in front, that's good for you for that day. But I don't think you will be coming to information ministry to work and wear legal junior uniform and say because it's students in uniform. We have a special rate for them. We announce that very soon. And we are currently working on a cashless payment system, and maybe we will start with the students in uniform, where the parents will be able to buy their children card for a month and we just swap in the bus. And we are currently working with that 3 vendors. And we are looking at to see which one can better work with us and contextualize their technology to our system, because you know it's something strange. It has not happened before, and so that we don't want it to be complicated, where instead of solving problems, and we're increasing problems. So that's why it's taking us this time to do that. But very shortly we'll start that, and we'll do that with all our routes. Equally, we start scheduling. Our buses are already going to have a move on a schedule. Sharp 10 on the moving day, because it's out, and we start doing that to all our out-of-town routes. If we say we're leaving from the parking station to go Pastor, 10:30, sharp 10:30, that was to leave, because people in Pastor expect the bus to be there by 12. So shortly we'll be introducing do that. We also doing one of our program to retire some of our employees. I told them all MTA employees that work hard for the institution from the youthful age to the point where they honorably retire with raw MTA buses free of charge. So we are going to, as I speak, our IT department is working on special bus parts, special feature that they have to be copied easily and we distribute it to our entire employees. It's not transferable. You can't give it to, if you are working, you can't give it to the husband. If your husband, you can't give it to your wife, you can't give it to your children, it's for yourself. As a retired employee of the National Transport Authority, wherever you find an MTA bus moving towards your direction, once you have that access pass as a retired employee, you ride it bus free of charge. We are also planning, we are working with the Civil Service Agency in how we can move government employees, those that will want to use public transportation, those that will be interested in the public transportation, how to move them, at what fare. We are working with the Civil Service because we want to get the demographic of those all civil servants that we want to ride for public, that want to use public transportation. In other words, we are saying we want to know all ministry, agency, and commissions, employees that live in the Pinsville area, for instance. We will know that number, then we know the number of buses to deploy in that area. What are the ones that live in the bourgeois area? Batnersville, Gatnersville, Brewersville, Corwell, and then we know how to deploy that at an affordable rate, where you can also buy a car Monday or whatsoever amount you want to put on that. In discussing that, we are also planning like similar things that we're doing for our retired employees, those who consider senior citizens. Now, there were some of our teachers are. I consider our senior citizens to be 70 years and above. So all those 70 years and above, we want to have a special package for them to ride the bus at 50% cost. So there are other views that say senior citizens should be from 65 upward, and I said 70 upward. So we are discussing that. And if we conclude on that, then we include through the LRR, we work with the LRR, that this group of people will have a special card. When we talk about a citizen card, we have a special feature only for them, so we can identify them. Whenever they get on the bus, we will pay just 50% of that, what they amount for that round. When we brought in the 35 pieces of the vehicles I just talked about, when we brought it, we received some information from the public, that the bus was leaning. The bus was leaning on one side. And by our old buses, so let me just see, those buses are brand new buses. We did not discard the information. We brought back in those buses in the garage. We asked our technical people to take the second look, but there was nothing significantly wrong mechanically, as we found out. However, we contacted the vendor. The vendor will be sending a few engineers to come so we can allay the fear of our people. I'm telling you now that we have not seen anything fundamentally wrong mechanically with those vehicles. They are good, but we made representation with the vendor, and we will be sending people to further allay the fear of our people. With that, we think we want to start here things that we did not make mention of. ask them, and then we will respond to how you go. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is and my question goes to Mr. Pia. Thank you very much for the note of the 5-year plan. But I want to know, within the notion of the 5-year plan, but you forgot to tell us the targeted budget that we will implement in the 5-year plan.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Marco why is it that the NTA 5 years enter into 5 years?
Thank you. My name is Mano Puru, and my question goes to Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, talk about all of the reviews, especially the bosses. In Liberia, the people want to know whether the government has already paid for all of the bosses for better skill is what is called set pay in Liberia.
Good afternoon. My name is Gbeyon Press Hall. I work for the Liberia newspaper. I have 2 questions for the bosses. The 1 question for the Mr. Pia, 1 question. The last time the government had the program, the Upaloma program in my country, we promised that it's a better word, that Upaloma program. You had a promise that you were going to have another one in Basel. That part of the program, up to that time, we have not seen it. So, when are you having that program again? When will you be having that program? And so,
One question.
it's plenty.
It's a choice. You also ask me,
It's a choice.
So, my name is Mr. Selim and I write for the newspaper. Mr. Andy, I want to know, we talk about the NTA in terms of the revenue for the coming in of these 25 pieces of forces. Where are we in terms of revenue currently? Thank you.
I'm Narayana today in the coach for Revenue Africa. My question goes to Director Paul. Of all the people you mentioned that may benefit from the free
you ask me a question, that's it. About the free route. How are you?
Yeah, so my concern with the friendly agreement, when do we see them be part of this entire project?
I'm Edis National and I do work for several things like my question goes to the MP of NPA. Mr. MP, the Liberia people want to know how many NPA bosses are there currently at the NPA, how many of them are operating, and how many are there.
So my name is James Mbola. I'm both for the My question goes to Mr. Pia. Mr. Pia, you spoke about the airport issues in the Sabo National Park coming across traditional people. The issue there is often in the big war countries, security officers found it correct everybody in their work in terms of being coming across traditional immigrations. Is there any plan by the government through the federal ministry and the security apparatus so we are able to have an amicable working relationship in the developed parts of the countries so that security officers will be charged at duty to help intimidation?
My name is Charles Gbeyon Press Hall. I'm confused with the principal act conductors and forces. What do you do with the force? I'm confused. Tussle on the bosses. What do you do when you get those kind of reports? Thank you.
My name is Joseph Sally and I report from Mr. Paul, my question goes to you. There are many concerns from citizens
passengers who board these buses on overload. Yeah, I want to know if there are any concerns that are going to reach your office or in the general.
Yes, Moses King and Goodbye. Thank you, MD, for the issue questioning financial management and debt. Since 2023 to 2025. The NTA faces huge debt, including a court order to seize assets for unpaid lubricant bills alongside allegations of financial irregularities, the use of funds, and lack of transparency.
Thank you, Honorable Paul and Honorable Pia, and your able deputies here. My name is Stephen Sompong, and I report for the Liberia News Agency. This question directed to the MD at the National Transit Authority. And let me just in the public environment commend you for the tremendous job you guys are doing at the NTA. But this afternoon, my attention has been drawn to all routes in Liberia, especially for Riverside County. Are there plans of expanding your operations in Riverside and other Leeward counties, especially for the Southeastern region, using the Buchanan route? And you care to tell us about the fares, because there are some conflicting information that relates to the transportation fares around the NTA.
All right, so the first question is why NTA not venturing into taxi? So we are working on that. In fact, we consider that we call that call for ride. We're working on that, but we'll be very careful because we don't want to kill the private sector. We got to balance it and see how the private sector survives. Even though we want to provide public transportation at affordable rate, but we also watch what we do not to kill the private sector. But we're thinking on that, and we need a starting call for ride. When I was growing up, if you took a taxi from Douala and wanted to go Chubo, it says it carry you straight to Chubo. It doesn't stop you to Broad Street, and then you find another car and will go there. Those are the kind of things we want to reintroduce. So you can take a taxi cab from Uru and we can straight to Runsville, Nassau Village, and put you there. We are working on that. GOL pays for the buses. No, GOL did not pay for the buses. Those buses are not free. So buses. The arrest agenda for inclusive development, our sector planning, they budgeted 50 buses for NTA in 5 years. So the 50 buses at the rate, at the time of that decision, each of these buses was 85,000. So it means government will have to give us 10 buses every year if they will give us 50 buses in 5 years. That's 850,000. So I made the case with the Ministry of Finance and I want to defend our budget. I will bring that 50 buses into today. All you do give me that 850,000 every year. I will run it marketing and see it better. So it's not free. We need to, the government did what we had in the 2026 budget. They gave us the 850,000. We want to market by 845,000 and pay the first 1,720,000. So it's not free. It's a 2-year deal. At the end of 2027, then the buses will be free for the Liberian people. The next question, current revenue. Currently, with the few buses that we just won, we're running around $800,000 a day, Liberian dollars. We were running between 300,000 to 400,000 prior to where we are now. And we want to expand the route. In fact, there will be price adjustment upward very soon. We're announcing. Because we want sustainability, we will put the buses on the route for them to come down in the next 6 months. We must sustain them. And so to sustain them, we have to adjust prices. But those prices, we don't intend to adjust the prices within the Monrovia, even Monrovia and 50 balance our out-of-town route. But when we get to that point, we'll let you know. Pregnant women, yes. For now, we don't have any plan to carry pregnant women free. Why we have told our conductors and drivers, whenever you get to a point where you see women with children, take them pregnant women, put them by themselves. we'll do that. But to move pregnant women free of charge, we have not factored that into our arrangement yet. Maybe sometime in the future, we'll not current number of the buses, we have 52 now, including the 35 that just came. We have 14 that we repair. We purchased additional 317, and the 35 that just came is 52. Out of the 52, we got 3 now in the garage for regular maintenance. We ran with the new buses that came. The service manual, after every 5,000 hours, we must service them. So 7 of them now are in the garage waiting to change their oil and filter, because those are specific oil. We just got the oil yesterday and we're going to change their oil. Tussle on the buses. So he said tussle on the buses. I don't know. Oh, okay. Yes. In fact, my deputy for operation was just at the police station 2 weeks ago. A guy got on the conductor for no reason and wounded the conductor. We took him to the police station. They broke him and begged. I think he paid the hospital bill for that. But we never use this medium. We are there to serve the public. This is why we said the act that created NTA said affordable transportation, reliability, and affordability. So we do everything for you to rely on us, that we will always be there. And that's one of the reasons why I said there will be price adjustment. And we carry as an affordable price. Somebody will pay $150 or $200, you pay $50. And then instead of you sitting peacefully in the bus, you want to fight the conductor to ride free of charge. And some of those things come from it because we have the policy that we carry security personnel in uniform, we carry them free of charge. You don't wear uniform, you take someone that Adita, the conductor don't have Adita, the police Adita, or the fire service Adita, and then you force them their way through and wound them in the process. It's unacceptable. We don't accept that. In as much that we tell our conductors and drivers on the bus to be very polite, use your best customer service skills, treat the public nicely. The public also must respect those people on the buses. Overload. We got complaining. In fact, zero tolerance on people standing on the buses that go out of town. No one should stand on any of the buses from Monrovia to Ganta, from Monrovia to Banga, from Monrovia to Rangedale. Nobody is supposed to stand. We have a minimum weight of 15 kg per passenger of anybody who rides in the bus. And that's a policy we go with. Everybody is supposed to adhere to. We already have a complaint on that. And the investigation is going on now. And those who will be held liable will face the full weight of the human resource management. And I want to encourage the public that what other people do. We got our hotline, we got number on the buses. Just call us. Once you hear the public and you see those things going on wrongly, just let us know. We'll take the appropriate action until we can curtail them. We have such buses by the NTA. If you're passing by and there's something there already, you don't have to put your name, you just put it there in the box. There are people who go in there, compliance officer that open those boxes, read it and take it to the appropriate authority for action. Financial-based management. I can talk about what happened in 2021, 2022, 2023 that led to me inheriting $41. I can talk to that because I was not there. Well, I can promise you that since March 1, 2024, for accountability by the National Transit Authority. In fact, the first person I fired, the person who was sending him to buy broom because we took over the place, the grass was almost to this roof. And we sent him to buy whipper and broom, and he went, so he phoned the money and went face his own receipt and brought it. I was auditor by myself. According when the shop, they received from young boy and young to the shop, they thought there was nowhere. Then he came back, I'm sorry, and they were fire right away. That said a signal to everybody there. So where you got that views from, I'm sure they were talking about the past. You can go. The court case, yes, it was the past. I went to the court. I met the judge. Two of the vendors took the entity to court. One is 96,000. The other one is 35,000. We vetted that debt. Some of those things went somewhere that we don't know. We brought it down to 70-something thousand. I told the judge we pay him $500 every month because we don't have money. So every month I write a check, we sign a check of $500 and send it to the court. The rest of the people, they owe every day as we speak. I think 3 or 4 persons will be waiting for me at the entity that the entity owe. There is no business in the country that entity owe for the past 6 years before we took over. Down the way of bargaining people will come. So for that, the debt more than $2, $3, $4, $5 million. I'm talking about the employees. I was saying NGO will be 11,000. I took the entire salary and real debt and give it to the auditor to verify. Because when payment said, yo, come say the man went there, I money business, he went over there to take money. So those who ended the old salary and real, they come to me and say, I should be number one, I live in the land. So let the internal audit vet it, write us, and then we take the necessary action. Vendor debt, we are paying vendor debt. And as I'm speaking here, I have not gotten a vehicle. March 1, 2026 is my second year. That's second year, right?
Yes.
It's my second year at the that marks my second year. I don't have a vehicle. I use my private vehicle. Because NTA never had the money to purchase it. But I'm paying vehicle rental debt for my predecessor. Other routes. Sinai is one of the areas we are looking at. But we are looking at the bridge. There's a bridge, I think, between Sinai and Riverside. I mean, it's not good for the bus. So that's why I'm here on ground. Or else we'll be running green. Riverside, we want to see the population. If we put a bus there, we stand there, you know, my deputy for administration, then where he coming from? Every time we're talking about moving to local events, say, but what about Riverside? So I tell operation people will go and see how many persons go into Riverside and come out of Riverside. We're looking at that. We'll put a bus there to go to Riverside. But once the road is good, everywhere in this country that the road is okay, that the bus can move without problem. It doesn't necessarily have to be quota road. Even a gravel road that is good, we'll put a bus there to move our people. So I think that's all the questions that were asked.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you for the question. As you leave, please, especially the person who talk about the hostility against our personnel on the buses. Please, you get your friends, talk to them. If it's a specific route that the hostility becomes too much, we withdraw the bus on our route. Because we cannot afford for people to just brutalize our staff every now and then for just no reason at all. So I want to say thank you.
My young reporter Larry, very passionate about pregnant. I don't know what it is about pregnant. He has always raised this issue of pregnancy. Okay. Maybe my advice would be, like generally, when the pregnancy comes, the better can be sooner or later before you get it. The one that already be maybe 8 months, 9 months, you can consider it a rapture. Larry, you should be So when we develop a 5-year plan, it depends on the government for support. Government envelope is being prioritized in all sectors. Communication is important, but there are a lot of critically important sectors, health, education, etc. So you just try to be courageous. Say why you want to do it. We gave you this example. When we got here, this building was falling down. We didn't have money for it. But I did say to you in the same press conference that there's no way we can allow ourselves to remain in this condition. We have to change it. And without government contributing a dime, yeah, I'm going to repeat that. Without government contributing a dime to re-roof the entire building, it's not for government budget. While we're still waiting to see whether we get government support to renovate the building, this conference hall you are in is not a part of the renovation that is going on. It was done outside the renovation. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we have in the strategic plan is an act of boldness that we have always practiced. We said what we want to do. Year in, year out, our government does this budgeting process. We execute. The performance management program stop with signing with the president is incumbent on government resources. All the strategic plans are going to the cabinet secretary. As the government support, we execute to the extent of the support and what we can get on our own. So that I want to be, I want to tell you our strategic plan is 10 million. Maybe government in the next 4 years, that people will give us that. So we can kill our determination of what we do. One of the things that I did in graduate school at Harvard was a specific course called Getting Things Done. And I was key in taking that as one of the courses I wanted to do. What it teaches you is that there are many ways through which you can get things done without necessarily having a drum of money sitting. It is exactly the theory and the practice of that combined that I brought to my team, that brought into it, and we're doing what we're doing. Not because communication is one of the areas that is supported as it's supposed to be. You know, sometimes when you place in charge or there's no trouble, you say, you're not going to be none noise, you ain't going talking about it. Because ministry is bigger than one sector. You come here every time for press conference. I won't touch my house here. Okay, your premier father, they will give you money to come back. That's some poor mother here, they look at my face, they may have a young catcher. When they come back, they get a catcher, it's wrong. But there's no money in the budget for press conference. Where you see it coming from? So if I look at Trump and say, they may have run a place before, he considered the place as autonomous. So anything that was really on their own. Whatever resources is here, if they come on your name, we spread to our program. Somebody just asked for government time of my own report. Government budget is public. Go look at where you see them money for government time. But we're courageous and bold to say we want to do it. So if I got money, what are they getting leader on it? I know it can help to do government time, or you can do a press conference, you can do that, or say no, it's fully for leader. The ministry is the ministry. So that's why people are making a noise here, they talk about it. I'm a solution-driven person. People in our point and say, whatever we get, if there are challenges, I'll we address it. But I'm going around for me and employees to be arguing. Somebody goes say something in one radio station and answer. People can say, BBT, I can keep doing that. My own children, they have to call it out as we run here around with. But sometimes I got bigger things to concentrate on. This country is on a journey. A journey that some people want to see go on. They're doing everything to revert and suppress and do everything. That's a bigger picture, that's what I'm concerned about. It's been 2 decades in this ministry. Everybody paying their own way to come to work. We're funnelizing. In the morning, bosses will go in 2 directions, one to drive, one to the other side, pick our employees, bring them to work, after work, carry them back. It's all happening in 2 decades. The things we have the power to solve, we solve it. If I, on my own, with my team, had the power to change remuneration, that's what I think we would have done for day one. Because it's not okay for people to be working government making 150, 200. Don't forget these are the same people who were transporting themselves to and from work. And the team here decided that was unacceptable, and therefore we must ensure that they can be transported to and from work. That assignment is bigger than what Truman is doing now. Changing the building to be what it is bigger than any programming in the ministry. Look at the Lord who want and start being small-minded in our advocacy and activities. We respect all the department here. We'll make sure you work. We've had some conversation with Truman. He's sitting here today. Everybody will work. But you gotta understand that the ministry is not one section. Thank God, culture and tourism gone. That's part of our working year too. Budget year after budget year, you look at the budget, there's nothing there for culture and tourism. How do you promote culture and tourism? How do you develop culture and tourism when you're not budgeted for? At least it's gone as a separate independent entity. About the first time they got a budget. Say what? Whatever they really got a budget, which has never really happened. The last real serious budget this place ever had in terms of culture and tourism was when we developed a PSRP project that for the first time placed 250,000 the budget for them. We have not even executed our project for it. As was approved by Minister of Finance, one or two things were done to procure the bus for the cultural troop to pick up. Because the tourism supposed to be in the fee and spending hotel, they can't go there, they can't get back. But now that they're on their own and they've been treated from that institutional perspective, we hope they can try, because tourism is a potential sector that can generate billions if it is done properly. So this country has needs, and we're working together to solve those needs. So to conclude, government town hall, yes, we said we'll do the quarter. Now let me tell you what we did innovatively. We work with interviews. Interviews plan the program, and we agree that every month we do government town hall in one place. But you know where interview are getting the money from? You know, journalists, you know where they're getting the money from? Okay, usage. So when the US government announced that they were pausing usage operation across the world, interviews collapsed. You know what interview are you don't see them anymore. Even the country manager they hired was a foreigner returned. They put in a local ORC to manage the race. So all that we did, we didn't want it to look like we killed the program because we're depending on so much on interviews. So what we said, maybe in the absence of interview, we can do it every month. Or we can do it quarterly. And we took that bold decision without having the done to do it. We've done it twice. That program is done in concert with Daniel and the new media office. They will tell you that it's not cheap. The first one we did was about $20,000 to do it. We went to Lima, they know why it was. So we're all budgeting now for you to do a tell one, we need money. But let me tell you one of the things we've done. In the current budget, one of our operational expenditure, we made sure that we have some resources to do the government time of quarterly assessment. So in the new year, and we will do the next one. We go to my own country, so I take it serious. We announced that I got a grand master, right? Sure. So we do it. I can't tell the going master, bringing time where I'm ready. I'm ready. I think we're okay. Thank you for today's press conference.